flamenco player. I kind of fake it. I know some strumming techniques, but not all. I'd love to learn more. And I watch a lot of flamenco players on YouTube, and I'm astounded by them. Of course, Paco de Lucia is the most well known. Sadly, we've lost him now, but you can watch just his magnificent playing, and there are lots of them in that tradition. And today I've got a absolutely marvelous flamenco guitar, and this is a little bit above the normal price range of what I show on this channel, but I think it's well worth it. This is a Cordoba F7, and I've been playing the hell out of this since I set it up. And this is your traditional Flamenco Blanca, which is the solid spruce top and cypress back and sides. There is also the Negra, and I've showed you a Cremona version of that with the rosewood back. But this is a traditional woods flamenco guitar. Now, I don't know if I told you this on previous videos, but when it comes to flamenco, the action is supposed to be loud, it's supposed to buzz, there's supposed to be a growl. So if you get a flamenco guitar and you start playing, you know, pretty Bach or Baroque music on it, and it doesn't quite perform as well as perhaps your other guitars do, it's not really designed for that. Although this guitar plays really well for all kinds of stuff, it's the growl that where it really comes into its own. And it's got two clear tap plates on it. Beautiful spruce top here. Nice Spanish style rosette. And of course, flamenco is from a region of Spain. It has Arabic influences through the Moorish invasions in the Middle Ages. So it is, you know, sort of a multi-ethnic form, and has a unique history, beginning with dance and vocal, and becoming more of a solo guitar tradition in later years. It keeps morphing. There are new things done with it. It's combined with other forms, and there are purists and there are modernists that are at war with each other, perhaps. But it's just an absolutely wonderful form, a great style of playing. Even the classical players. I once saw an interview with the great Julian Bream, who, by the way, is just a phenomenal classical player, a student of Segovia, along with John Williams. Those two really kept the classical tradition going after Segovia died. He would just sit in awe of a good flamenco player, and he wouldn't try to compete with them. He knew that the classical guitar tradition and the flamenco guitar tradition, although they have some commonalities and they do play some of the same repertoire, he knew that where they could take it was not somewhere he could go. He didn't have that skill set, and he acknowledged it. He did a great documentary on Spanish guitar, which is on YouTube. It's a few hours long, but watch it, it's fantastic. And he plays all of the Spanish styles, including the early Baroque Spanish with the Baroque guitar, and he's brilliant at it. But when it comes to the episode on the flamenco guitar and flamenco traditions, he has a real flamenco player come in. He doesn't try to do it himself. You know, he honors the tradition. So this is just a marvelous, probably if you want to get into flamenco and you want not an entry-level guitar but a step-up guitar, get one of these Cordoba F7s. Of course, there is a C7, which is the classical guitar. This is the F7 with the proper woods and design. And I've seen these going anywhere from about $700 or $800 to about $1,200. So they kind of vary in price, and I think they're sort of out of stock with Amazon, perhaps. So the second-party sellers are asking as much as $1,200, $1,300 for these at the moment. I don't think they were quite that much new. They were probably closer to $800 or $900. I'm not sure, but they really are in that class of guitar. The next step up from this is you know, a signature guitar handmade by a maker rather than a corporation or a company. As far as corporate guitars go, this is top of the line for this particular style of guitar, and it is correctly made with all the correct accoutrements and woods. Cypress is the desired wood for a Flamenco Blanca guitar. There's something about it that just gives you that punch. You know, with a standard classical guitar with a mahogany or rosewood back, you get a lot of sustain. But with a flamenco guitar, you want almost the sound to kill. You want a quicker, what's the word? You want a lack of sustain. You want full tone, but you want the sustain to die more quickly, so that you can play, you know, these sort of techniques that rely on the notes being very precise and not having them bleeding into each other, if you understand what I'm saying. So I can't say enough about this guitar, and I'm going to keep it probably forever, but at least for a while. It's just so much fun to play. I really like it. I'm not a flamenco player, I don't pretend to be, but when I incorporate sort of some flamenco techniques into my recordings, this is the guitar I'm going to use, because it's got all the appropriate growl. It's got these tap plates that just sound perfect and resonant when you play those types of techniques. So I've waffled on long enough, but this is just a fantastic guitar. And of course Cordoba are brilliant. They are smashing it in the guitar world at the moment. You know, C5s, the C3s, even the C1s, and in the smaller size guitars are outselling everyone. I have talked to a couple of distributors and wholesalers recently, and they say that Cordoba is now the #1 seller out of all the guitar brands. That includes Gibson, that includes Martin, that includes Taylor, that includes Epiphone. Cordoba is now the #1 seller, and they're starting to make acoustic guitars and what you call fusion guitars. They're classical guitars with an acoustic width and neck. And I just think they're going to go from strength to strength. They put out guitars that, for their price points, are probably the best on the market. So I can't say enough about them. They're an excellent brand, and of course Cordoba is the one of the cities that made guitar famous in southern Spain. So even though it's not a direct link to you know, the guitars of antiquity, it sort of serves the spirit of them and preserves the name, and you know, of course, the Spanish lineage of the guitar as well. So this is the Cordoba F7, fantastic flamenco guitar. If you ever get a chance to play one, pick it up and give it a strum. You'll be amazed. And I'll see you next time.